Hey guys, Ads here with a quick video. We hit 500 subscribers on the channel recently, to which I wanted to say thank you so much to everybody who's liked what I do enough to hit that subscribe button. I started the channel after being egged on by friends who thought I'd be good at it, and as a sort of visual collection of recipes for myself, so I'm glad you guys have seen some value in what I'm doing. Thank you again, it means a lot. To celebrate, I put the word out about doing a Q&A, and I got a couple questions in, so I'll answer them. So to start, Simar asked, what made you want to start painting? Thanks for the question, bud. I first got into the hobby because of a friend of mine, someone I went to school with. I briefly touched on the story in the Garsgård video, so to expand, my friend was into the hobby for a bit before me. They had a fairly substantial art collection, and I think they wanted someone to play with. Took a bit of convincing, but they eventually got me into a hobby store to pick up paints, brushes, and my first mini, which was a Tyranid Hive Tyrant, one of the half metal, half plastic kits from way back. I enjoyed the hobby for a few years, took a break while I was away at uni, then came back about 5 years ago, I think, when I was between jobs and looking for something to do. I leveled up a lot when I came back. Warhammer TV tutorials were a thing. I learned what washes are and how to dry brush and edge highlight, and I've not stopped since. I just love painting, and I'm hoping to learn to play with this new edition. Wild Things Studio, thank you very much for your question, asked, what are my favourite types of models to paint? And I'll be honest, I've been thinking about this for a few days, and I wasn't sure how to answer. In a general sense, I stick to around the Warhammer scale, which I think is 32mm heroic scale. I'm not sure that size. I'm finding now that I've stepped out of Necrons a little bit that I'm preferring the more organic shapes to paint. Gaza Makari skin was really fun, and I am having just the best time with the new Tyranids from the Leviathan box. Otherwise, though, honestly, I just kind of paint what I think's cool. Which is why you've not seen Space Marines from me yet. Alright, my good friend Toshi next, asking, who is your favourite model painter, and what's the coolest painted model that I've seen? Again, I had to think about this. I don't really follow a lot of high-end painters, the sort that go to competition and do box arts and stuff. A lot of the painters that I follow are YouTubers, and they tend to teach. So the Painting Phase guys, Louise from Rogue Hobbies, Guy from Midwinter Minis, just to name a few. If I had to pick a favourite, I think Juan Hidalgo stands out. I learn a lot from his Heavy Contrast series, and I use a lot of his recipes for starting points in what I paint day to day. He's also just really good, so yeah, probably Juan. And what's the coolest painted model I've seen? Casting my mind back, I remember being really taken with a diorama of a lictor creeping up on a Guardsman by Victoria Lamb, and I don't remember the name of it or if it had a name. I remember seeing that back in the first codex I bought and thinking it was just the coolest thing. I also keep coming back to this Convert Destroyer Lord by Jono Art too. I'd love to try one of these things one day, they're such a cool idea. And then I think I have to give a special nod to the insanely huge dioramas at Warhammer World as well. The Battle for Angelus Prime one, that you literally have to climb stairs to get around to the top of, particularly is quite something. That was a really, really fun time going there. And lastly, Wrath the Fallen, Wrathmate, thanks for the questions, asked two questions. Firstly, any chance of painting Age of Sigmar stuff? Maybe, never say never. Age of Sigmar has some gorgeous figures that I'd love a crack at. Seraphon and Skaven are high on my want to paint list. And I think I have a couple kits knocking around from both. And I was given a Nagash and some Ideneth minis to paint a while back that I want to get round to when my backlog is a little bit lighter. Generally, I'm not into the fantasy stuff so much, but it's very hard to argue with some of the miniatures. They're so cool. And Wrath's second question is, what's your favourite Chaos or Loyalist chapter? Dark Angels and the Fallen are personally my favourite. So I razz Space Marines a lot. They are my least favourite faction in the game. I'm just not at all taken by Imperial armies, unfortunately. When I play a game like this, I'm already a human. I'd like to be something else and, experience people's creativity a bit more other than just people in big armour. However, there are exceptions to every rule. I have a Space Marine army that I need to paint, and I had originally planned on painting them as salamanders. They seem pretty cool to me, And I like the idea of the fire motif and the different skin tone to paint on the bear heads. I even painted a tester mini way back when I started back on the painting. There was a decal on it and everything. I've changed my mind since, and I'm fully set on painting them as Blood Ravens now. Yeah, they stole the glory like they steal everything else, haha. I sort of came to the realization that I just wasn't into the idea of painting Marines at all, and I was ready to offload the army until I played back through Dawn of War and figured that I could turn that army into a sort of playable nostalgia piece. I've gotten 1 or 2 painted to get the scheme down, and maybe we'll see them on the channel eventually in a tutorial, but for now they're sort of on the back burner while I get through the Necrons and the Tyranids. I'd like to do like some of the characters from the games in mini form and all sorts. It'll be a fun project. Just I've got a lot to do. As for my favorite Chaos chapter, I actually quite like a lot of them aesthetically. I'm not that big on lore, so it's mostly just how they look. I really like the Thousand Suns, Rubric Marines. They look like they'd be an absolute pain to paint, but they look gorgeous as an army. I'm also quite fond of the Night Lords as well, and I wouldn't mind painting a couple of those one day. But if you had to hold a gun to my head and say pick one, I'd probably say the Iron Warriors. Something about the old metal look and hazard stripes and lots of demon engines is such a cool thing to look at. And that's one of the ones I would like to commit to like a kill team for eventually, maybe. And I was very kindly gifted a Helldrake a little while back that would look fabulous in an Iron Warrior scheme. So that might be a good place to start, maybe. I don't know. All right, and that's all the questions I got. So thank you again for the submit days. I appreciate you guys asking questions. I think I might do another one around 1,000 subs. We'll see if we get there. In the meantime, though, I'd again just like to thank everybody for watching, commenting, and subscribing. I'm going to keep doing this, and I hope to be back as soon as I can with another painting video for you guys. So yeah, thank you. See you again. Bye.